What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quartering, and brand new Twitter files just dropped. It's been a day full of news, a day which I just want to get out to the movie theater and see the whale for myself instead of looking at it in the mirror. I did the work for you, haters. But the brand new Twitter files about the great media fraud. This is one of the stories I've been waiting for, certainly. Going to be a good one. And this Twitter file is brought to you by coffeebrandcoffee.com. Obviously, you know, you've watched my channel, you know, I want to tell you about our Valentine's Day gift boxes. This is something in addition to our 15 different coffees, 12 organic teas, 4 delicious hot cocoas, our K-Cups, our chocolate-covered espresso beans. All of this goes to supporting the channel. And our Valentine's Day gift boxes are here. I know you might not be thinking about Valentine's Day yet, but promo code The Quartering, one word. Not only will you save, but you'll be supporting the channel, and you'll get our delicious hot cocoa, our delicious chocolate-covered espresso beans, and a bag of our Roast 003, our Colombian blend, either whole bean or ground. Get your Valentine's Day handled early and be a hero. And support the channel. Move over, Jason Blair. Twitter files reveal the next great media fraud. So you have Chris Watts here in a video. Let's see what this says.
In your team, you guys created a website, Hamilton 68.
Yes, my colleagues and I, we tracked Russian accounts.
That's some bullshit.
So there literally right now there are Russian bots, according to your website, that are putting this out into the world. Is that
Right.
correct?
It's bull.
You and your team, you guys created a website, Hamilton 68.
Yeah.
Okay. 2, I think we need to just call this out on the BS it is. Here's from Yoel Roth, former Trust and Safety. Yes, exactly. It's so weird and self-selecting, and they're so unwilling to be transparent and defend their selection that I think we need to call this out on the BS that it is, in reference to the Hamilton 68 account list, meaning the media was pushing the Mo Russia narrative, and it never was backed once by facts. 3, another email from Yoel Roth. Hey, so-and-so, unlike hashtag release the memo, this one is primarily driven by data from Hamilton 68. I'll do another sweep for spam shortly, but as of yesterday, this looked like right-leaning hashtag about the shutdown, which only got the label of Russian because of the Hamilton dashboard falsely accusing a bunch of legitimate right-leaning accounts of being Russian bots. The media falsely accused a bunch of legitimate right-leaning accounts of being Russian bots. Yes, how do we publicly push back on the Hamilton is a bigger question, but I don't think there's anything too noteworthy about the hashtag beyond that. He's basically saying, like, I'm sure they were like, man, we don't really want to vindicate these evil Republicans, and that's where this is all leading. Quote, virtually any conclusion drawn from it will take conversations in conservative circles on Twitter and accuse them of being Russian. Yoel Roth, we produced an extensive description for these accounts during Project Osprey, available here. The findings were generally that these accounts are neither strongly Russian nor strongly bots. They're just generally right-leaning users. Virtually any conclusion drawn from it will take conversations in conservative circles on Twitter and accuse them of being Russian. This is the media, okay, essentially being called out inside of Twitter, okay, inside of Twitter for falsely claiming right-wingers as Russian. These are quotes by Twitter executives about Hamilton 68, a digital dashboard that claimed to track Russian influence and was the source of hundreds, if not thousands, of mainstream print and TV news stories during the Trump years. The quote dashboard was headed by, you guessed it, former FBI counterintelligence official and current MSNBC contributor Clint Watts, and funded by a neoliberal think tank, the Alliance for Securing Democracy. This is massive. God, I hope people really aren't that burnt out on Twitter files. I hope that you're appreciating the coverage. If you are, I'm still covering this the moment it comes out, whenever it comes out. If you haven't yet, there's a subscribe button down below the video. Whether you're watching on YouTube, BitChute, Rumble, Odyssey, I don't care. I'm just glad you're here. But I do hope that you'll subscribe today because it helps the channel so much and it means a lot to me. The ASD Advisory Council included neoconservative writer Bill Kristol, former ambassador to Russia Michael McFaul, ex-Hillary for America chief John Podesta, and former deputy heads of the CIA, NSA, and Department for Homeland Security. What a coinky-dink. News outlets for years cited Watts and Hamilton 68 when claiming Russian bots were amplifying the endless parade of social media causes against strikes in Syria. By the way, I tweeted against that, and I'm not Russian. In support of Fox host Laura Ingraham, the campaign of both Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders. What? Hamilton 68 was the source for stories claiming Russian bots push terms like deep state or hashtags like Schumer shutdown, walk away, release the memo, and many others. The secret ingredient to Hamilton 68's analytical method? A list, quote, our analysis has linked 600 Twitter accounts to Russian influence activities online. Was how the site put it at launch. But Twitter never validated this data. Hamilton 68 never released the list, claiming the Russians will simply shut the accounts down. All those reporters and TV personalities making claims about, quote, Russian bots never really knew what they were describing. Shout out Matt Taibbi if you're not following him on Twitter, by the way. I'd love to follow him on Twitter, but hashtag free the quartering at Elon Musk. Let him know that you're done with Twitter Blue until he stops this ridiculous censorship. Twitter executives were in a unique position to recreate Hamilton's list, reverse engineering it from the site's requests for data. Concerned about the deluge of Hamilton-based news stories, they did so, and what they found shocked them. At long last, I've been able to reverse engineer the list of accounts behind the Hamilton 68 dashboard. I found their API key, which is a mysterious AI or art I can't quite describe. These accounts, quote, they concluded, are neither strongly Russian nor strongly bots. So they falsely labeled them as Russian bots. They never were these things. In layman's terms, the Hamilton 68 barely had any Russians. In fact, apart from a few RT accounts, it was mostly full of ordinary Americans, Canadians, and British. It was a scam. Instead of tracking how Russia influenced American attitudes, Hamilton 68 simply collected a handful of mostly real, mostly American accounts and described their organic conversations as Russian scheming. Twitter immediately recognized these Hamilton-driven news stories posed a major ethical problem, potentially implicating them. Quote, real people need to know that they've been unilaterally labeled as Russian stooges without evidence or recourse, Yoel Roth wrote. He did have some ethics. Some Twitter execs badly wanted to out the Hamilton 68. After Russians were blamed for hyping up a particular hashtag, why can't we just say we've investigated? Citing the Hamilton 68 as being wrong, irresponsible, and biased? Yoel Roth wanted a confrontation. My recommendation at this stage is an ultimatum. You release it or we do. However, there were internal concerns about taking on the politically connected Alliance for Securing Democracy. Quote, we have to be careful on how much we push back on ASD publicly, said future White House and NSC spokesperson Emily Horn. Quote, I've been very frustrated in not calling out the Hamilton 68 more publicly, but understand we have to play the longer game here, wrote Carlos Mongi, the future senior advisor to Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg. So the legitimate people, as one Twitter exec called them, never found out that they've been used as fodder for the mountains of news stories about Russian influence because the Twitter files contain the list they've begun finding out. Quote, I'm shocked, says Sania Mansour, who, as a child, lived through terrible things in Lebanon. Supposedly in a free world, we are being watched at many levels by what we say online. Quote, here's another person who was called Russian. I've written a book about the U.S. Constitution, says Chicago-based lawyer David Shestokas. How I made the list like this is incredible to me. When asked on growing up, my father told me about McCarthyite blacklist, says Oregon native Jacob Levitch. As a child, it would never have occurred to me that this would come back in force and broadly in a way designed to undermine rights that we hold dear. Even Twitter executives were stunned to read who was on the list. Wrote policy chief Nick Pickles about British comic Holborn Lols, old Holborn, a wind-up merchant. I follow him, and I wouldn't say he's pro-Russian. I can't even remember him tweeting about it. Absolute bombshell. Excellent work by Matt Taibbi. More evidence that the mainstream media was happy to lie about United States citizens to push their narrative about Russia. The fallout from this and the continued Twitter files that will follow up will be covered here on this channel. I think I probably do a pretty good job of it, and I hope that I've earned your subscription today. I look forward to reading all your comments in the comment section down below. Join my Telegram. Follow me on Locals. I've been banned on Twitter by Elon's e-girl. I hope you're familiar with that. Hashtag free the quartering if you're using Twitter, and we'll talk to you again real soon.